welcome back to the Dancing Italian Urban Farm. Today I'm canning potatoes. I was at the grocery store the other day and they had their little 2-pound bags of potatoes for 99 cents. So I got a bunch and I am going to can them today because I have really enjoyed having canned potatoes on the shelf. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just going to peel these potatoes. Like that. I'm gonna cut, you know what? I forgot to put water in my bowl. Let me get some water in my bowl. Okay. It's just cold water. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our potatoes. And I like to cut them into about bite-sized chunks, and I'm just gonna put them in the cold water. This will help keep them from browning because I have a lot of potatoes to get through. So I'm just gonna keep peeling and cutting potatoes and putting my potatoes in this water, and I will meet you back here when I get ready to fill my jars and get to canning. Oh, one thing. Make sure if you have any blemishes in your potatoes that you remove that blemish. Because you don't want that in your can. Now see, this has a big bruise in it, so I'm gonna cut that off. As I'm cutting my potato, I will just cut that little section off. I put it in my compost bucket and we'll take all that out to the compost pile. Okay, so I thought I'd go ahead and show you how I fill my jar. I just take my jar, it's been sitting in really hot water in the sink, so the jar is warm. I'm gonna take my potatoes that have been soaking in this water and I'm just gonna kind of finger strain them and put them right in the jar. I do not blanch them or pre-cook them in any way. I just put them in raw, just like this, till I get to about an inch of headspace at the top. And then I'm gonna take this jar and I'm gonna put it back in my sink that's full of hot water so the jar will stay nice and warm. I will also boil some water in my little tea kettle. I'm gonna boil some water in my tea kettle, and when that gets hot and boils, I will pour that boiling water into the potatoes up to that inch of headspace, and I'll just let them sit in the sink until I'm ready to do a full canner load. And when we're ready to put them in the canner, I'll bring you back and we will get them ready to go into the canner. Okay, so here's all my jars filled. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in and de-bubble these jars and kind of let them reorient themselves. I did have about 4 rather large potatoes left over. I probably could have filled another jar with them, but my canner only holds 7 quarts, so I didn't want to have an 8 quart. I don't want to have to do 2 batches, so I'm just going to take those and bake them tonight for dinner. It's part of our dinner, and I'm just going to put these 7 quarts on the shelves, which is exciting. I'm debubbling, and then I'm trying to kind of level them out. But you want to make sure you get the air out of them. And I got my canner over here heating up so that it's nice, the water's nice and hot. All right, I had to go let my dog in. Anyway, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna check the level, make sure it's at 1 inch. If it's not, if it's lower than 1 inch, then I'll just take a little bit more hot water and just add it to the jar to make it at 1 inch. If it's over 1 inch, I will, first of all, try to resettle the potatoes. And I can always take water out. And sometimes you can take a potato out of one jar and put it in another jar, and that tends to even things out. There you go, look at that. Now I'm gonna take a paper towel with some vinegar on it, and I'm gonna wipe my rims real good. And then I'm gonna take a lid and a ring, fingertip tight, put it in the canner. Keep getting that corner in the potato water. Lid, ring, canner. There you go. 7 quarts of potatoes. I'm gonna get my lid on and bring it up to pressure and get these things canned. Okay, confession time. I got busy and just started doing my thing and forgot to film. So anyway, I vented. Once it came up to temperature, I vented for 10 minutes. I put the weight on, waited for it to come up to the proper pressure. And then once it did and it started doing a jiggle dance, I set my timer for the appropriate amount of time. I think it was 40 minutes for quarts. And let it go, keeping an eye on the pressure. When it was done, I just turned the stove off and I'm waiting for it to come down naturally. Okay, so after it came down, I went ahead and opened it up and pulled all of my potatoes out of the canner. Luckily, they all sealed, so I'm very, very grateful for that. So we have 7 more quarts of potatoes on our shelves to get us through, hopefully for a little while. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button if you have not done so already, and leave any comments or questions you have for us in the comment section, and we'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. And if you think anybody else would enjoy this video, please make sure that you share it on your social media. We'd be very, very grateful for that. And until then, thank you so much for joining me for canning some potatoes today, and we will see you in our next video. And always remember, grow where you're planted. Bye.